And that's what I was trying to explain to you, Precious. I understand your need to hear from a man. Trauma is trauma. And however you get the message is a message, right? We all have different ways, but um the first thing, like Anton said, the book and what the man is saying, you still got to run to it, which is yourself. Healing starts with yourself, but I don't want to get too deep. I'll let the next man go.
So let me, because I want to touch on what Lucky asked, and then I want to touch on what Curve said. One, there's another book that's dope that can actually help you out, Bruiser, called The Body Keeps Score. And I talk about trauma a lot, but trauma is like in the body. It's not just in the brain, right? So it's a certain part of your brain called the amygdala that holds on to all of your traumatic memories. And every time you deal with something in the past, you actually look at the future or the present, and it associates with what happened to you back then. So if something happened to you back then and somebody says something and it sounds like the same thing may potentially happen, you're going to regress or you're going to have a traumatic reaction. That means you still have trauma. So one of the ways that I actually let go of some of my trauma, you don't really let go, you don't really get over it, but I changed the perception of my trauma, is all the shit that I went through. Just like you said, Anton, I've been shot at. I've been shot at people. I sold crack in order to buy school clothes. I watched my mom get her ass whooped, all this other shit, right? But the trauma that I've been through is the reason why I'm to let go now, because I go so hard on the single motherhood stuff, mainly because of what I was able to see when I was a kid. And I don't want these other children to go through what I went through, being in the hood, single mother, no dad. I got to get all of my information from dudes outside that don't even mean good. So I had to figure out on how to delineate the dumb shit they was teaching me and pull the good shit they was teaching me out of it. And that takes a lot. So we men deal with trauma totally differently than women, because women are usually like prey. So me getting shot at, it was traumatizing, but I was shooting back. Usually when a woman deals with trauma, she's not able to fight back. She's not able to do anything back. So a lot of things we men go through as far as trauma, we have a fight. We are in the fight. Women aren't. When they get emmed, when they get R'd, when they get this, when they get that, they're usually prey. And they just got to live with it, deal with it. And to the certain degree, they can't fight back, or they feel like, since it's back in the amygdala, they don't think they're going to be able to fight back again. Even though we, like me and you, Anton, we get into a fight and you trigger me or whatever, you're going to be able to fight back. But a woman never feels like she's able to fight back. And that feeling of helplessness is the thing that affects her when it comes to trauma that's different than us.
But here's the question that I have. What makes y'all think that everybody is supposed to make it?
I'm just letting you know the
difference.
I mean, I don't.
No, because we
right.
What makes y'all think that, and this is both for guys and girls, what makes y'all think that it's not, that everybody is supposed to be taken care of, that it's not supposed to be survival of the fittest? From on every level, all the way from the bottom of our ocean to the top of our sky, everything, something got to get ate.
Well, because
something dies.
everybody,
we're the only thing on the face of this earth that say everybody is supposed to make it.
No, they are. You're supposed to be healed or figure out how to cope with your trauma. Yes, you are, because
everybody's not supposed to make it.
But if you're a person let's talk about everyday people. We see people and how their lives unravel because they're not able to overcome their trauma, which I thought was the whole point. You can't just be operating out here. Yeah, you can be buried in work, but where else is your trauma playing out in your life? Are you abusive? Or do you know how to, do you kind of withdraw from confrontation? Are you this? Are you that? There's a lot of things where your trauma could show up in your life. Just because you're successful, that's one thing. But your trauma could show up a different way that can impact your life. So yeah, and I'm very transparent up here because I don't care about the shots. Me being a lesbian was a form of trauma. I didn't like the way men were and how I've seen them in my life. They were unattractive to me. The average man where I'm from was a gangbanger, a shooter, a drug, where I'm from. So you see it play out in my mannerisms and things like that, which can be easily judged not feminine. But at the end of the day, that shows up in my life as far as what trauma is. So it plays out differently. Everybody doesn't, I can be a millionaire, but if I don't get that together, I may easily be able to withdraw from men because there are certain things in my life I've seen that were unattractive that they do. You see what I'm saying? That doesn't mean I could be a millionaire all day and lonely as hell.
Yeah.
You know, there are some things that cause trauma. You are mentally better off not experiencing. I mean, in which I would say maybe a reason why you see more men trying to protect their seeds and stand against fatherless households, because they probably don't want these young boys or young kids to go through the same shit. It's a detriment.
Yeah.
I think it's a diminishing return.
That's all facts, bro.
I mean, that's a natural thing. Like every man is always instinctively, naturally, you are supposed to protect whatever is yours, whether it's your household, whether it's your kid, whether it's your chick. Like anything that's yours, you protect. That's a natural instinct.
Right.
Even mothers are protective over their children.
Most mothers are
You
protective over any children.
You say it's a natural instinct, but looking at the community and looking at society today, doesn't it seem like it's kind of not like guys aren't naturally doing that?
It's a reflection of the fact that nobody has had to overcome a barrier to entry because they haven't had to go through anything and suffer. And so as a result, they don't have a sense of purpose. It's almost like if you give somebody something, they don't value it as much as if they had to earn it. Right?
So break that down, Anton, in layman's terms for people that are listening.
No, I get what he's saying. He said so.
I get it too, but maybe people that are
women
listening
is the
don't.
barrier of entry. And if it's free, it's hard for us to naturally protect.
Not entirely. Everything is a barrier to entry. If you give somebody $1 million versus they having to earn that $1 million, it means something different for that person that had to earn it for the person versus the person that was giving it to it. Right. And so when you have to earn things and when there's a barrier to entry to anything you do, whether it be your relationship and the people that you call your friends, all the way up into the money that you make and the environment that you exist in, the people that survive often are the ones that thrive. And everybody is not supposed to make it. Everybody can't be the CEO. Everybody is not going to be rich. Everybody is not going to be married. Everybody is not going to be successful. Everybody not going to survive on the battlefield. Everybody ain't going to make it out the hood. And somebody is going to have to suffer or die or get left behind. And the poor is always going to be with us. And so
what you're saying is everybody has to go through sacrifice. You don't get to bypass it, but you do get to choose the sacrifice.
And if you don't make it, I don't think that that's unfair because that's just life.
I agree with that. I agree. Totally agree.
That's just life.
Yep.
I watch the National Geographic and my algorithm is filled with animal videos, and some animals get ate the minute that they leave out of that's the one that the lions attack first is the weakest one in the pack.